Good evening, everyone. My talk tonight will involve your participation. You all seem very relaxed, and I'm going to disturb you, so I apologise in advance. Would you all please stand? Excuse me. I've got a question for you. The question's on the next slide. And what I would like you to do is answer it honestly. If you know the answer, then stand or sit. I'm going to ask you to sit by answering the question. Yeah, so the question's on the slide and I'm going to say numbers to you. What number you think it is, I'm going to ask you to sit down. If you already know the answer, which is possible, then you're answering from a knowing mindset. Because there are 4 stages, I believe, to an idea. First of all, acceptance. You either accept the information or you don't accept the information. Either case goes to the next stage, which is thinking. So then you think through. So if it's unacceptable, then you think through how you can change it. If it's acceptable, then you think through why you accept it. Then you move to belief. It's common language. You'll hear it every day. Yes, so if you hear somebody that's struggling, you say, why don't you do that? Well, I've been thinking about that, but yeah, I believe I'm going to do this. And most people spend their life in 3 stages. Acceptance or unacceptance, thinking or belief. And if you listen to the conversations you'll have, you'll know exactly where the people are. The last stage is knowing. So if you know the answer to the question, then you'll be in a knowing mindset, which means you won't be able to answer the question. But what I ask you to do if you're in the knowing mindset is to sit at an appropriate time. Don't be the last person standing. Does that make sense to everyone? Honesty is a must in all communication, in all idea creation. So here's the question. What do you think is the longest time a human being can hold their breath for? Now, we're not saying us, we're saying a top athlete. Yes, a world record. So if you think it's a minute or less, please sit down. If you think it's 2 minutes or less, please sit down. 3 minutes or less, please sit down. Nobody's sitting yet, so just look round. Because the expectation is sooner or later you've got to sit down. Because expectations are summary commands. So what you expect to happen is what controls the present moment. And you expect me to ask you the next question. And if I don't ask you the next question, then that would be unacceptable. You see how language is structured? Language is not thought. If language was thought, you wouldn't need language. Language is for communication, it's not for thinking. However, we take our language and we think with it, to the point that we talk to ourselves. I'll give you an example of that. Do you think I'm doing all right? I'm just talking to myself. Normally when I talk to myself, I listen. So if you could just put your fingers in the ears while I talk to myself, is that okay? And then how you talk to yourself, very important. Do you talk to yourself like an idiot? Yeah, because you believe you're stupid? Or do you talk to yourself with respect? Because you know you're not. 4 minutes or less. Now look round. Because opinions are a consequence of information. And information makes your decisions for you. But you perceive, you believe that you make the decision. But your expectations are summary commands. 5 minutes or less. Our opinions shape our mindset. And the consistent average in our mindset creates our society's mindset. And the consistent average in our society's mindset creates the creations we will create, consistent with what we fear and consistent with what we believe. So even when we think we're thinking, bear in mind, when we think we're thinking outside the box, we are actually in the box. Because by the box existing in the first place, yeah, and then you have the belief that you're thinking outside of it, then you're actually in it. 6 minutes or less. Now have a look round. Because the difference in your opinions is the difference in your creations. Comfort zones, what are they? Look round, you can see the ones that have got a smaller one and the ones that have got a bigger one. All that's different is your belief. All that's different is your opinion. Just because I judge your actions doesn't make it so. But you believe it may do. You're doing a good job. Because you're doing a good job, they can't be. 7 minutes or less. Another one sat down. Bear in mind, just to put a bit of accountability on this, I may ask you to justify your opinion. I may ask you to justify your belief. I'll take that into a bit more reality. I may ask you to come up on stage and tell everybody why you think it's more than 7 minutes. Who would like to go first?
One of them is holding their breath.
That's what I thought it said.
8 minutes or less. You see how your future now, you know what number I'm going to say next, and the number I'm going to say next. That's calibration. If you can preempt what's coming, then you're not thinking. How can you be thinking when you already know what's going to happen? It's when something happens that you don't expect. It's very easy to recognise it because people say, I didn't expect that to happen. Yeah? Or, the ludicrous one is, I knew that was going to happen. Well, if you knew it was going to happen, why did you let it? Or, to take it from the ludicrous possibly to the extreme, how our beliefs control our reality to the point that they create and make things happen. Let's, for example, say, could you know for a fact there is never, ever, ever going to be a plane crash, ever in our history? Would that be illogical to think? So then it must be acceptable that there will be a plane crash. But it's unacceptable to predict where. Because if we knew that information, then logically we could not be human. Because we are only human, which means we're imperfect. Imperfect to what? I don't know. If you're from an evolution mindset, then you can't say you're imperfect to God. So it must be the imperfections you got from the beast. Bear in mind from your primeval brain. And bear in mind, you don't think with one mind, you think with two. And bear in mind, and then you only use 10% of that. The other 90% is the iceberg below the surface, which is your mind, but you're not even connected to it. 9 minutes or less. 10 minutes or less. Watch them drop. 11 minutes or less. Now we've got the stubborn ones. Or the ones that know. 15 minutes or less. 17 minutes or less. Right, now the ones that sat down first, they're at the stage of what they're thinking is unbelievable. Or possibly extreme. Or madness. Because if you know something somebody else doesn't, and you're at level 1, and they're at what you perceive to be insanity, then you haven't even got them on a level. So when somebody says to you they could get a cure for cancer in 5 days, what would you think? Unbelievable, unacceptable, madness. Who do they think they are? God? 20 minutes or less.
dead now.
He hasn't told us the right answer, we're just claiming a number.
Actually, the person that did it is dead now.
21 minutes or less. Bear in mind, this is a person underwater,
Or less.
yeah,
you're
and
saying.
one breath.
But you're saying or less.
And they're
Or less. 20 minutes, as in they've held their breath for
Yes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Or less. Not
Or
more.
less.
And they're still
Up
alive.
to 20 minutes, like, so we're at 19
Yes.
to 20 minutes.
Well, when you
So
say
it
or
could be
less,
19 minutes and 1 second.
It could be 90, it could be, he said or less.
Yeah, so
it
20
could-
minutes or less, so it could be, the last number was 19 or 17, so it could be 17 minutes, 1 second.
Between the numbers.
It's between the numbers, sorry.
And they're still alive.
And they're still alive, and able to talk, and not needing the recovery, resuscitation. 21 minutes or less. Talking like you and I are. 22 minutes or less.
I have a number in my head, but
And do any of you know the answer?
I remember reading something about this.
Very good. But that's what, yeah? 23 minutes or less.
That's my number.
Right, very good. So, 23 minutes, we've got one standing. Do you know the answer, sir?
No, well, I had the figure 14 or 28 in my mind.
Right. 28 would be
Yeah.
madness.
I thought I'd hang on for the 28. Can I sit down?
20, it's up to you. Do you think it's higher than 23?
I think it might be.
Well, you think it might be? Do you know?
No.
Do you believe?
I believe it could be.
Could you stand back up for me, sir? Sorry. What's your name?
John.
Now listen in to the conversation. Bear in mind, this is a conversation between two individuals. You're eavesdropping. What's your name, sir?
John Davitt.
Right. Now, is John short for anything?
No.
Right. So, would you say it's the truth that your name is John?
Yes.
As true as you're standing there?
Yes.
As true as you're going to take your next breath? As true as you know that's a ceiling and that's a floor?
Yeah.
Bear in mind, the truth will set you free, sir.
In that ballpark.
The truth will set you free, but most people don't know what the truth is. So, let me give you an example of 3 of the mindsets. Do you think your name is John? Do you believe your name is John? Or do you know your name is John?
I believe my name is John.
So you don't know it's John.
Well,
Do you mind me asking you the next question? Are you on any medication?
No.
So, and bear in mind, I'm questioning your belief. But I can question your belief because there's a piece of information missing that doesn't make it a truth. Because beliefs are the barriers to the truth. Beliefs are the consequence of not knowing the truth. So, is it true that your name is John?
Well, it's complicated because I could have been Sean, but Nancy wrote a letter from America to say, don't call him Sean because he'll never forgive you.
So you could have been Sean.
I could have been Sean.
Very good. So is there a doubt in your mind?
There probably is.
Right. And for a doubt to exist, then you can only go as far as belief.
That's what I thought.
Right. Thank you for your participation. The actual answer to the question, I may have drawn it out there, is 24 minutes and 3.45 seconds. So would you say that's impressive?
Yes.
I remember 23.
Impressive to what?
I remember the
Impressive for a human or impressive compared to you?
There you are.
It's a world record.
And this is the problem. Do you think self-value has any place in the creation of an idea? Do you think self-respect does? Do you think trust does? And is it the truth that you all trust yourselves? Or do you just believe in yourselves? Or do you just think you're okay? Is that because, I don't know, Daddy didn't say you're a beautiful princess or Mummy didn't say you're a clever boy? Because the things you want said to you, the things you need said to you, are the things that control you. Would you all please stand for me? If you read the statement on the board, to yourselves, yeah. Oh, sorry about the timer. Can you all see it? There's somebody's, that's it. And all I want to know, bear in mind we're going to leave that slide there, yeah? All I need you to know is how many F's are on there. So it's there in front of you. Bear in mind your eyes don't deceive you. Your beliefs might deceive you, but your eyes shouldn't deceive you. All I need to know is how many F's are there. So if you think there's one F there, please sit down. If you think there's two F's there, bear in mind I will ask you to tell me where they are. If you think there's two F's there, please sit down. If you think there's three F's there, please sit down. One sitting down. So now, what's your name, sir? Con thinks there's three F's there. He's either wrong or you all believe there's more. But do you know there's more?
Yes.
Right. You're wrong, Con. According to them. Is there four F's there?
No.
If there's not four F's there, then sit down, please. If you can see four F's there and you know where they are, sit down. If there's more than four F's there, stay standing. If you're in doubt, bear in mind to be honest at all times. If there's more than four F's or less, please sit down. At the moment, for the ones that are standing, there's 1, 2, 3 people. Just so you know, I'm not saying that. We've got Con and this chap here with the glasses. What's your name, sir? Don and Carol. They're the 3 people sitting down. So they think there's 4, yeah? You obviously think there's more, or you know there's more. Do you understand the difference in the mindset?
Sorry, there are 4 sitting down.
Oh, you didn't see you, sir. What's your name?
Colin,
Are you sitting down because you need to rest, or because you think there's 4 F's?
I think there are 4 F's and you missed me.
All right, very sorry. Is there 5 F's or less there? If there are, sit down. We've lost another 3. 4. 3. Is there 6 F's or less there?
Yeah.
Right. Is there 7 F's there? Very good. 6 F's there are. But we lost about 8 people. Now, just for argument's sake, how many have seen that before? One. Right. The point is that we don't all see the same thing. It's not what we see, it's what we perceive. It's not what we hear. It's not what I say, it's what you hear. We do not see the things as they are, we see things as we are. There's the 6 F's. When you're looking at solving a problem, or you're thinking of an idea, or you just want success in business or in life, is your journey like that? Or is it a straight direction? Bear in mind how success is spoken about. It's an uphill struggle. You've got to fight. You've got to know your passion. You've got to know your why. There's too many got to knows when all you want is success. Too much to learn. Too many people telling you what to learn. Too many people telling you that you don't know enough about you to get you out of bed in the morning. You've got to have that 5-second rule. The 7 steps, the 21 steps. My question to you, and it's only a question, not a judgment. I don't know the answer. I'm not even interested in the question. What's stopping you? What belief, what opinion, what is holding you back from having that idea? And bear in mind, we're not on about the area I would like to discuss is the area, say, of the cure for cancer. The cure for, say, MS or Huntington's disease. You know, the incurable illnesses. Why is it incurable? I'll tell you what incurable means to me. We don't know. And we haven't accepted that we're even at a point where we can think about it. To believe that we can do something about it, to know that we can do something about it. Do you hear the language? But we accept that that's the world we live in. We accept it. And with acceptance comes the consequences, or the ideas. You accept the reality you're in, then you must digest the reality you're in. And then you must live in fear and doubt. Not just for a day, but the rest of your life. If you don't change your beliefs, but how can you change your beliefs when you don't know what the truth is? The truth is the only person in charge of you is you. If you live inferior to someone else or something else, then you're not living your life. You're living in fear. You're living in a world where you must bow and scrape. In a world where people sit and judge you, where their chair is an inch higher than yours, just to give them that air of authority. But I could be wrong. We live in a reality of bequeathed beliefs, ancestral thinking, and we perceive it's correct. Why? Because law is structured that way, and because people tell us it's so. Beliefs are summary commands. If you don't question your beliefs, then you must accept your reality. If the reality is not giving you what you want, and it's a bit salty or sharp or whatever language you want to use, where it's indigestible, where it causes you pain, then you're not living in the reality of your creation. You're living in a reality that has been created for you, where you believe you have no choice. No choice means, even though we live in a democratic society, no choice means no freedom. No freedom means no truth. We used to believe in Santa Claus. Used to, yes. And what's the difference between a belief and the truth? What's the difference between a belief and a knowing? Once you know the truth, you can't go back to a belief, however much you want to. Once you know the truth, you know the reality. And if you don't know the truth, you can listen to conflict every day of your life. You'll hear it in one story here and the opposite opinion there. 6Fs, 4Fs, 3Fs. You hear it on the news every day. Trump this, Hillary that. They're playing with your beliefs and opinions because you put more trust, more respect in someone else's opinion other than your own. And that might be me being patronising or disrespectful. It's just an idea I've got. I could be mad or extreme. What limits have you got? What creations do you want to make in your life? One good idea could save a child's life. A simple idea. Do you know what I think we should do before operations is wash our hands? A German doctor said, it took about 20 years before they accepted it. Why should we do that? Simple ideas sometimes change the world. That's me.